La like this.
What's goody, y'all? Welcome back to another beautiful episode of Love Like This. I am what's the adjective for me today? I am the illustrious.
You're just making shit up.
That's a real word. It's not made up word.
I know, but you never used that word before.
Okay, I am the beautiful one and only Orlando Roy, aka Hoochie Daddy himself. Sitting right next to me is my one and only beautiful, almost wife to be. We're getting every day is a step closer to your wifedom. Milah
Yes.
Map, aka Hoochie Mama herself. How are you today, baby?
I'm good. I'm chilling. What does illustrious mean?
Give me 1 second.
See, this is what I be talking about. Niggas always trying to be using words, and
Hey Siri,
they gotta Google it.
define illustrious. Illustrious, well known, respected, admired for past achievements. Illustrious.
Okay, is that the word of the day?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Should come up with an adjective of the episode every episode. How are you, my love? How's your mental health?
Sorry. Woo. Um,
Does one activity. Yawn. Tired for the day.
yeah, pretty much. I cleaned, I did the dishes, I swept, and I swifted, and
Cinderella,
now I'm
Cinderella,
tired.
Cinderella.
I've already established that I'm a nighttime person, and mid afternoon is not my peak hours.
Yeah, this is what time is it?
So it's like 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock, so this is like it's just becoming like noon, 1 p.m. ish for you.
It's still like
You
10
really,
a.m.
yeah, really. Oh, yeah. Okay,
I need
10
about
a.m.
like
makes sense.
2 more hours to come fully alive.
It's lunchtime. Yeah. How's your mental health?
Um, my mental health, it's okay. Um, I feel there's always a lot of shit to do as an adult,
Mhm.
and that's a bit overwhelming. And yeah, I feel like the phone is a big distraction, and it's also giving me like I'm about to make up a word. It's giving me overactive brain thought.
It's called overstimulation
Yeah,
of
yeah,
your mind.
yeah. Yeah. I'm overstimulated, but I'm good. And yeah, we have a party coming up. My birthday just passed, or
By the
midsummer.
time you hear this, the party will be gone and done. But yeah, your birthday party's coming up. How was your birthday?
It was great. I turned 21,
Of course.
and this was
I
our
like it young.
friends and our family, and we barbecued, and we had a little cake, and it was fun. That was all I really asked for.
It's just family and barbecue and a pool.
Yeah.
Um, how do you feel going into this new year of 21, this the beginning of 21 years old? Now you can drink.
Woo! Everybody knows I needed that. I feel I'm ready and excited to see what this year brings. And there's a lot of exciting things happening this year. And my birthday's always at the halfway mark of the year. So it's like, have I done the shit I said I was going to do in the last 6 months? Where am I? I was reading a journal entry or something from like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. And it was like the same shit. I mean, not as far as like where I'm at, but like not feeling like I'm moving fast enough or making changes fast enough, even after I'm aware of them, which has been an ongoing theme, I feel like, in my life. And so this year, I just came to the conclusion that it's probably, I'm just not gentle enough with myself.
Hmm.
I think we're all on the internet and watching people achieve things quickly, and things are moving really quickly. We're in like the microwave era.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just feels like nothing's ever enough, fast enough, and the economy's fucked up. So I realized that when I read my 5-year-old fucking journal entry that is the same as this year, it's just that I think the overall lesson is that I'm a human and I need to be gentle with myself and slow and steady, easeful change And when I look back in the last 5 years, I've had a lot of changes. So I don't know why I'm always so concerned that I'm not doing enough.
Mm,
Probably because I know I could be doing more, but yeah, this season I think is just about appreciating even the smallest um, upgrades and the smallest lessons and implementations.
hmm I have been also thinking about, well, you said this is the halfway mark of the year. And I've even been thinking about where my life is right now compared to in the beginning of the year. Um and it's significantly better. We're in a longer relationship than we were
I was
6 months
thinking,
ago.
I was thinking that I don't really know the dates precisely, but this is like literally our 2 year move-in
Hey.
date.
Yeah, I moved in tomorrow. Tomorrow is when I get to LA 2 years ago from Mexico.
So yeah, we've been living together for 2 years
Tomorrow.
tomorrow. Um, does it feel like 2 years to you? How do you feel? Because you've obviously integrated into my life, into my friends, into my state, my city.
Relationship wise, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. Even though it does feel like we've done a lot of time, a lot of things within 2 years as far as like growing, our relationship, growing expeditiously in our relationship. I think that's a word. I'm gonna use that word. That's a good word.
Mm?
Okay.
Expeditiously is correct. Yeah.
But we've grown so fast because we've done so many things as far as like experiences together, like small experiences, big experiences, like journey type experiences that lead to like these bigger experiences. Like we've done so many things within that time that it, even though it feels like it went by fast, it still feels like it's jam packed with a lot of like shit that we've done together specifically. Um Life wise, it feels like it's been a drag though. Like other than the relationship, it feels like life has been a drag.
What do you mean by a drag?
I mean,
Okay, what
I
the fuck do you mean by a drag?
it's not you. I've been in like this. I've been in like a mild. Well, it's had its waves, but it really peaked around like May 2 years ago. My depression, and I feel like it started, if I can remember correctly, of like when my feelings started coming around with it. It started maybe August of 2021, and then it really started like peaking around like May 2022. And then from then, I've had to try and like slowly, just weed my way out of like this mild depressive, long-standing feel, that I've been having. So that's what's been making things feel like a drag, like the waking up every day, like pushing myself through to like just get what should be simple things done, and then realizing that things are getting better little by little. Usually my depression, I have, just things that I can do to like get me out of that rut quicker. But I wasn't like shaking it. It wouldn't shake or wouldn't like go away. So I had to take like a slow and steady like approach to it. And then not until I could say maybe um maybe in 2024, so like maybe fall of 2023, somewhere around then it started like easing its way out of my life. And I feel like I've had like a more easeful mind come around January 2024. So it's been life wise, it's been a stretch, but relationship wise, it's been great. It's been happy, it's been amazing. And now I'm in a space right now where I feel like I'm not like digging out of this hole of like sadness and like anxiety. Now I feel like I'm standing clear and I can see the light and things are shining bright and like shit like that. So it's in comparison to where my life has been January 2024 to now, which is July 2024, it's significantly better in the sense of like my mentality and like, how I can think clearly about things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is
Even
it?
not to keep rambling, but even sorting like out my finances and like remembering all the knowledge that I've like gained throughout my 20s and like what I can do to like make things better or allocate and like move money around just so like things could be cool for me and for you like in the next few years. and getting that done, I've realized how much things I've not necessarily forgotten, but didn't have like it at the forefront of my mind because I had like this really super clouded judgment, um, because I was going through this depressive moment. Not to ramble on.
Got it.
So yeah, that's where things have been for me during this time.
Yeah, honestly, to be completely, this is gonna sound like I'm a bitch, but maybe other people can relate. When you first were like talking about moving in and all these other things, I was really like um concerned about the depression. I think you told me that like early on our friendship that you like get seasonal depression, and honestly, I told Erica like I don't do well with depressed people. Um, why are you laughing? It's true.
Okay, good. Keep going.
And I was just like, oh man, like he's gonna come.
You gonna come here and be sad
Yeah, and I just don't have time.
to hold nobody.
I don't. And you know what? Even when you were having that whatever depression you were going through before you moved in to, in May of 2022, I think you were seeing somebody else at the time, and I was actually really happy because that person was like consoling you, and
Taking the grunt of it.
in my head I was like, I'm really not into non-monogamy, but this could be the perk.
You are an asshole.
I'm just being honest. You
Okay.
called me and you were like, you were like, I cried on so and so's shoulder. And I was like, this seems odd, but you know what? I didn't have time today. I would have never had time for this. But even though everyone's probably thinking that I'm a bitch,
Spills my heart and emotions out. You know, I never want to be there for none of that.
I am just saying all of that to say, I recognize that I've probably myself dealt with um I don't even know if this is a word. I'm also making this up. Like manageable depression for a long, long time.
Hmm.
But because I don't give myself space to acknowledge it, it's really hard for me to be there for other people. And I do, like, I'm very compassionate. I'm very empathetic. I'm very, like, sensitive to people's feelings. But I do feel like sometimes I have a time limit. And it's probably like 60 to 90 minutes per day. For only a limited amount of days. And I'm only saying this because I think this is something that maybe a lot of other people experience. And it's not so much about like not having the wherewithal to deal with anybody else's depression, but it's mostly what it's shed light on for me is that I've probably been depressed for the a majority of my life, but this is just how I cope. This is my mechanism. And so, being around someone who's more in touch with their depression
More in touch with depression.
made me realize that my bitchiness is not because I'm really a bitch. It's because,
It's hard for you to give space because you don't give yourself the space to elaborate and explore those emotions that come from being depressed.
which probably has a lot to do with, my, like my energy levels in the daytime, my sleeping habits. I sleep in. I mean, or maybe I'm just a night person. That's a thing too. But I just think that there are things that I think as women, people Black people, women, whatever, there are less, especially as parents,
You want to foot rub while you podcasting?
there's less time to there's less time to you feel like there's less time to deal in all of those emotions, and so you push past them. And what happens when you push past them shit is you get a little numb.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um,
I never told you that before.
no, you have not.
But I told Erica, his nigga be depressed and shit. I don't really know how I'm gonna deal with that. I hope he's not depressed over here. He
Well,
says it's seasonal, so hopefully the weather X's it out.
I actually will say that the weather in California actually helps with seasonal depression. You don't seasonal depression in New York really starts like around fall, ends around like maybe if you're lucky, earlier than May. So yeah, the weather here and just the upbeat feel of California does help with seasonal depression.
It does not,
Even
however.
even if Mila's not there for you, at least you have the weather of LA.
It does help with seasonal depression, and it may even increase low dose manageable depression, so you don't even know what's happening.
That is also true.
Yeah.
You know, that's how my mental health has been going. I mean, well, thank you for sharing that and your honesty. Yikes.
Either people are gonna hate it and they appreciate the honesty and can relate, or they're gonna just think I'm a bitch, and I've been called worse, so.
Okay. All right. But yeah, there you know what, let's take a breath. Let's take a let's take a breath.
You need to reset for my bitchy confession.
You're just hilarious. Um, with it's also kind of funny because, you know, I kind of didn't get that impression when I got here. Like you were pretty consoling, you've pretty much been there
Because
for
I'm
me.
not a bitch. It's not true. I'm not doing it in live action time, but the actual idea of somebody else being depressed in my space is triggering. And maybe because I live with people that I didn't, that are moody. I've had relationships, I've lived with people, and motherfuckers were crazy. And so I think for anyone who's getting into a relationship and cohabitating, there is a level of this is true. Even I'm sure you could experience this from me. Is like when you're in uh close radius with someone, their energetic field inevitably affects yours.
Mhm.
And you can either absorb those feelings and bring your frequency higher. Like I could be like, listen, or you could have a bad attitude, and I could be like, I'm gonna have a bad attitude too, which is usually easier.
Mhm.
So we match the frequencies. It just depends how aware we are of it. And so, when you're choosing who the fuck to live with, it's important that you know their cadence of emotions and like and there's been times where you've been in spaces because you're generally a very happy guy. When you get low, and I'm like, the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you? And then it's kind of like, is it me? And I think women do that a lot.
It's
Like
you.
everything, shut the fuck up. Everything, of course it's you, bitch. Um, is it me? Is it something that I've done? We kind of always think that it has something to do with us. Like that's our first go to because we're people pleasers. We're trained to be that way. We're programmed to be that way. And so if you're not pleased, it must be me. And so I think there's been times where you're like, no, it's not this and that. And I'm the type of person, and this may also sound bitchy.
There we go.
I'm gonna ask you.
Myself.
I'm gonna ask you like 1 to 3 times max. Are you okay? What's wrong? And if you say nothing all 3 times, or you're okay, I'm gonna be like, okay, fuck. I'm not gonna ask you a lot more because I kind of feel like that's how you should communicate.
I actually hate people that ask how are you and the person that responds nothing when obviously you're motherfucking different. I can't stand people like that.
You do that
No, I don't say nothing.
sometimes.
What?
You have.
Like last time I done that was like what?
I can't put my
A
name.
year and something ago?
Okay, I don't know the date. I didn't wite it down on my fucking
We've
palm of my list.
progressed since then. Like, god
Okay, I'm
damn.
not saying recently, but there's been times you say that, and in my mind, I'm just like, did all I could do. Um,
Yeah, you're right. You did sound like a bitch. Go ahead, keep going.
On the flip side, someone asked me more than 3 times, I might say nothing all 3 times just because I feel like
You say nothing the first time, and
anyway,
then when you feel like speaking, it just
yeah,
pops out.
yeah.
That's what it is.
I'm gonna process it first, and then
Yeah.
when I'm ready, when it's time, even if it's more than you've asked me 3 times, then I'll address it. But
Yeah.
we're all working on ourselves.
I mean, Regardless, which is I'm saying regardless because it's actually surprising to hear this because you've actually been pretty consoling and pretty like there. We've been there for each other in a very like
Tell everybody I'm
emotional
not a
space.
bitch.
Yeah, I was like you're saying like I'm a bitch. I didn't even want to be there for you. I'm like, well, you were there for me every single time. So
I'm only
glad
a
you
private.
turned
I'm
glad
only a
you turned
private
around.
bitch to my very confidential friends who understand that I'm a bitch, but not really.
But with that, I mean, there are things that's happened that's like been hard to speak about, even with me and you. Only not because you're a bitch or because or because I just like be saying nothing to everything. But you know, sometimes things sometimes things are hard to like just bring up and realize to um elaborate on.
I mean, well, this last year has been very difficult, my dear. We've gone through a lot of things. A lot of things happened in the
Hmm.
last 12 months.
Hmm.
And I think dealing with things, chaotic things, like under 20, I mean, under 30, there's a level of distraction that comes with them. And there's honestly been a level of distraction that's happened now.
Yeah.
But because I think when you're over a certain age, when you come, hopefully, when you become more self-aware and things happen, even right now, I'm self-reflecting and saying, I'm just realizing that there's probably been a level of depression that I've dealt with that I haven't really dealt with. And there's a level of this. You have the wherewithal to be like, I was drinking too much to avoid this. I was doing this to avoid this. Um, Not everybody has that realization, but for me, and I hope
You're the
for you too, that you've also experienced this like this coming to terms of the reality of things. And like this last year, I think we were moving really, 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 really fast.
hmm
Um, we work together. We travel a lot together for work, and it's just hectic. We live a high pace life.
high energy, high
High
pace.
energy, high paced life. We wear a lot of different hats. And to be completely transparent, like last year, we moved rather unexpectedly. We didn't move like right one place to another. We had to we put some shit in storage, we moved around, we stayed with some friends. My mom kicked us out. Hi, mom. Um, and it was fucking a little bit traumatizing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and then also like the termination at the time
In
was
addition to that,
yeah.
we had to move rather quickly, and like at the very same week, I found out I was pregnant. Um, like being pregnant and homeless is not a good combination. So I mean, we had both. I guess we had just been here for 1 year at that point, and we both agreed that it wasn't a good time to pursue, having a child. We did it. We agreed, right?
Yes.
That was
Yes, we both agree consensually to each other.
okay. I
Yes.
just need to put that clear because people are gonna be like this bitch.
She forced him.
But again, I knew in my mind, this is what the decision that had to be made. This is what we were going to do. And so I did it and we moved forward, and, that is not, and to be completely transparent, I've had abortions in the past,
We both have.
and, I didn't put much thought into them. And sometimes it's because it was people that I absolutely knew I could never co-create with. I was young. There's a lot of reasons, but with this situation, we're very much in love and we very much want to have a baby as long as there's not a zombie apocalypse in the near
Yeah,
future.
yeah, yeah. Homelessness and zombie apocalypse are the two things that are like very hard to have a baby
Yeah.
through.
Um,
No, I'm not.
yeah,
I know I'm laughing. I know you're dead serious, but yes, it is
I'm
two
being
serious
serious.
things. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I found out pretty early. I had no idea. I thought there was absolutely no chance that I could be pregnant because I've successfully stayed unpregnant through the pull-out method. But Orlando's okay, Miss. So um
Wow, to put it all on me.
No, I mean, I just lay there, but um I got off birth control without doing a bunch of other techniques. I'm highly fertile. I thought everything was great. I thought we were doing a good job. And then, a week goes by, my period doesn't come. Another week goes by, and I'm honestly, quite frankly, avoiding taking the test.
Until I get the test. And I'm just like, you were like, let's wait a few more days and see. I
I
was
think it was at my
like,
house. Like I had one. I always have pregnancy tests and morning afters on deck in my house because I have friends and
oh, isn't okay, yeah, yes,
I'm
you
like,
had
come
to.
over, bitch, we got it.
And I'll tell you like just do it now and get it out the way. Yeah, and I do remember you walking up when I was in the kitchen like pregnant.
I tend to do things in secret. I like to do things alone, and then I'll
Mm.
tell you. Um,
I realize, well, you said we moved on from it. Like we did move on from it pretty quickly, and just because we had like so much happening at the time, and even after the termination, we went through with it. Wow, it's still kind of hard for me to speak about.
talk about it. I think it's important that you talk about it. I don't think you have enough, probably.
Um, it's just hard. I mean, I'm trying to figure out like the sentence structure, to like even have this like come out clearly. Uh, it's just hard because I do want to have kids.
Mhm.
I love kids. Um, but see how I say this correctly. I always feel guilty feeling bad about it because I'm not the one going through the surgery, even though I have such high emotions about it. And it makes me feel guilty to where I don't even want to mention it because I kind of feel, um, I kind of think that it's kind of unfair for me to, not unfair to me, for me to feel how I feel about it, like sad, um, sad, angry, embarrassed, anxiety, like all these things that surround that. Um,
What are you embarrassed by?
that I'm not in the space to have a child or do something that I want to do when I want to do it.
Okay.
Um, but also on top of that, knowing that you may also be feeling that way as well, but you had to go through the physical part of it. And knowing that, it makes me hesitant on speaking about it because I kind of like talk myself into saying that, it's kind of unfair for you to mention anything because you didn't go through the physical pain and the surgery. Like I have high emotions, and high feelings about it, as you can hear by my voice. But I kind of just like stay away from like saying anything because I feel like I should leave more space for you to express yourself than I should express myself about it because I'm not necessarily in the position that you are, and I just find that your position is more, I guess, serious or
Sensitive to it.
more sensitive and should have more thought towards than my position, and my position is just feelings.
Well, let me reassure you, dear. It's equally as much my experience as it is yours. And just, again, honestly, this is not my strong point.
Mm,
Going back, sitting in something, observing in it, picking apart, that's not something that I do. When it's something that's sensitive to me, something that may require me to dig in more, especially when there's a lot of other things going on. So I think it's probably in our best interest that you express yourself more and kind of talk about those feelings and if they're unresolved and like without worrying about whether or not it's going to hurt my feelings or if it's going to bring something up because I will quite honestly disregard something because I don't feel like because I haven't honed in on this tool of mine, I am easy to it's easier for me to avoid. So even, months after that the termination took place, and we moved and, got a little, in a better place. And you like kind of lashed out and expressed to me that you were still feeling away. I was completely caught off guard. But it was necessary, it was necessary that I tend to you and kind of tend to myself in that way because I had pushed it down. So I don't want you to ever feel like you can't talk about if you're hurting about something, especially something that we've both experienced. And that whether we both made the decision or, like I also want to have a baby with you. And it wasn't easy. But I want you to I want to encourage you to always tell me how you feel.
Thank you.
So how are you feeling now and then?
Um, I've been feeling a bit better. I know we had a I guess spiritual discussion or spiritual meeting.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know, things like that I necessarily really never get too um like caught up in. Um, mediums
Like
speaking on it.
healers and shit. That's like that's my LA thing, is what you're saying.
Well, it's not necessarily healers, but it's very specific to death and mediums.
Let me just be clear for the people that are listening.
Mm.
So this happened last year. Um, like I said, we were moving. Um, my grandmother died like a month later. I published a book, which was like a very intense thing that we were both like wrapped up in. Our entire business was wrapped up in this one fucking release date. Um, and so we didn't do anything. We just kind of like moved forward. We kind of just went about everything like nothing had happened, low key. And so this year, I think it kind of came up because it just dawned on me like it's been a year since this happened. It went by really quickly. Did we give this space? I kind of talked to a couple of some of my other friends, and they're like, maybe you need to like have a ceremony for the baby that didn't come through so that you can kind of like feel at peace with it. And honestly, I wasn't feeling anything really until I had a friend who was pregnant around the same time as me by a guy she had just started dating and wasn't in love with, and she had told me that, and I was like, listen, I just had an abortion and I'm with someone that I love very much, and if you need support, I'll take you, like this is like I was like, I'm not trying to plant any seeds, but if you want to go, I just went, I can take you. She ended up staying pregnant and she had a baby recently. She has a really cute little baby.
Uh,
And yeah, but like it dawned on me scrolling past her pictures, like, oh shit, this is like a direct reflection of what could have been at this time. And so yeah, that kind of struck me, like the fact that it didn't it was brought up in this way, it did affect me, and I was like, oh damn, like maybe this is something I haven't given enough time. So I reached out to some of my healer friends because I'm a very spiritual California bitch.
mhm.
I know many of them. I was given a couple of suggestions. We were put in contact with a woman in New York who's a doctor, but she's a spiritualist, and she does these type of ceremonies often. And it was on Zoom, but yeah, she acted as a medium and kind of held space for us to communicate with that spirit. I had heard from another friend that sometimes, like, if that spirit isn't happy, that whatever decision that you made, they'll linger around and kind of cause ruckus.
Mhm.
Someone said that sometimes they can like come mess with the child you do have. I didn't see any of these things happening, but I never considered, from someone who's had multiple, terminations. I never considered that this was an option, that there was a ceremony that could happen. To be transparent, like when I was in the office getting the termination, at one point when the doctor left, I just kind of like held my tummy and I said, listen, I said it out loud. I said, we're not ready right now. We love you. But just know we want you to come back. Now's not the right time, but you're conceived in love and we're expecting you to come back. And that was just like the last acknowledge, like the last, like I said it out loud and I let it be. And so I just never entertained the idea that there'd be a possibility that we could like have this ceremony, even though I know the veil is always thin and I have the ability to talk, and my voice and my frequency can always like you know go through bounds of dimension and time and space. So I know that, but it's just like actually doing it is different. And it's so funny that we're having this conversation because I didn't realize that this was today's episode was going to be about. Um, but I before you came home, I was sweeping and I said out loud to him, I said, I said your dad probably really wants to be in communication with you. So if you could just give him a sign, he would probably appreciate it. Just because I feel like there's been times where I've gotten to have like after that ceremony to be in communication where he's kind of like let me know that he's present and it's okay. And so before I even realized that this is what we were about to talk about, I kind of said that out loud and I was like, am I crazy sweeping my house talking out loud? But no, and so we did have this ceremony with this woman and she kind of welcomed him in. I know it's a him. And she confirmed. I knew that when I was pregnant, and she kind of just would it like want? Do you want to talk about it?
You keep going. I'm trying to like get my breath together.
You don't need to get it together, babe. You could just be you could talk and still be emotional and cry. There's no time limit. Um, she just said that there was an overwhelming amount of love and that she that his spirit was like just extremely happy that we were able to get in like that we went this route to be in contact and to have the opportunity to be in communication. Some colors came up. I asked if there were some ways we could represent him in our house. She shared with us what those ways were, and we just kind of expressed that whether it was him that was going to come back through me. I always believe that like the spirits who are supposed to come through you and they tether. And that's the thing. I was feeling his presence in ways, and this recently. And I've always felt like whoever's supposed, like Luna had probably been there a lot of times before, and same like the same type of feeling. And so she kind of confirmed those things, and she said it might be him, it might not, like there's no time and space, and like that he was doing fine in the other realm. He was um so it kind of gave us closure in ways. It kind of gave us peace, I felt like. How was that experience for you? Because that's
Um,
not something that you would share.
yeah, no, but I think it's not something that I would like, I guess think to go towards or use because I just didn't know what to do. And I think that was the sad and also frustrating part of it is that I feel sad. I feel all these feelings and emotions and I don't know what to do with them. So when we had that talk with her. And the talk was great. The insight was great, all the things. And the reason why I say I'm not always hesitant about those things because, the scammy part of it. Like you could really take advantage of people in such an emotional space. But what made me feel better is the tools that came after like which is like, his color that she's seeing that is blue. And like maybe we can get some things that we feel I guess we can represent or we feel connected to with that color and having a ceremony around that. And that's what started making me feel better because now I know what to do these emotions. I know like where to place them. We got some incense, we got some candles, and just like other little things just so like we can create a space and a ceremony for him.
We
And
we lit we
that's
lit the candle. We had dinner with our family at the table. We let the candle burn, until it
Mhm.
went out.
And actually, it went out at the time.
I,
We caught it when it went out.
yeah, I just happened to be in the living room at like
Mm.
4 in the morning. There was absolutely no reason for me to be in the living room, and something just told me to go sit by the candle. And it was like it's in the corner of our living room at this point. Is that? And I didn't know it was about to end. I knew it was low, but something just drew me over there. And as I sat there, zip, 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 it went out, and I was like, oh my god, like he waited, for me to be
Yeah.
sitting here, and it did. It made me feel really emotional. It made me feel, because there's always I'm skeptical too. I'm a witchy bitch, and I am with the readings, but I'm always skeptical. But like spirit always speaks, and so at that moment when he kind of like affirmed that the experience we had and the messages we got were real. I was just like, it was emotional, but it was also really affirming
Yeah,
just to know that he was in our space and that he, waited for us to literally be in the room, even if it was 4 in the morning, to kind of be like, I'm here and this is how you know, and I'm gonna let you witness the candle go out.
yeah. It was actually really beautiful. But yeah, having somewhere to put all these emotions on, somewhere to direct them, something to do, like having something to do about them. Like I
Well,
could
to
do
have like a
something.
ceremonial
Yeah, like even
action.
yeah, even with the any type of ceremony we've been fine. I just well not any type, but a ritual like helpful ceremony we've been fine. Any way we went about it, I just didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know how to like start the sentence to speak about it. I didn't know like how to start a ceremony. I didn't know who to ask and what questions to ask. So I was just stuck with all these feelings and emotions, and I didn't know like what direction to go. So doing that was helpful in the sense, in the practical sense of like knowing where to put my feelings and getting closure that way. So that was very helpful, for my feelings and emotions and where I stand.
I want to encourage you to maybe write a letter. Maybe you need to write and just write him or and just get some whatever feelings you're feeling out. And so then it just feels like a form of release in addition to that
Yeah,
with words,
I love you
I love you too.
a lot.
I love you too a lot. Um,
We recorded our beautiful session with what's her name again? Doctor.
I'll put it in Patreon if anyone's experience. I have a long roster of spiritual healers.
Yeah.
And that's another
Um,
thing. When you come from a space of healers and your friends are healers, there's always a network of people that you can reach out to. And that's why I'm always seeking, like I told a couple of friends, like I had an abortion last year. This is like, I don't know if I dealt with it. This is what even if I don't know how I'm supposed to deal with it, I always have friends who are like, listen, call this person here. I was told like a couple of things in that realm that I had no idea that were options, but um this is the perk of being in the network of people who are, not necessarily traditionalist, and they'll do,
I mean, this is also a perk of tribe, right? Like, I mean, they don't got to be traditional, like spiritual people, but just always having someone or a group of people that you can feel confident to go, hey, regardless if I'm going through something, I don't know how to express it. I know I can call upon someone, and that's the comfort of tribe.
yeah, I think her name is Dr. Shahat.
Mm.
Sahat. But I will,
Apologies for forgetting her name, but we're gonna put it out and let you guys know.
yeah,
Yeah.
put it on Patreon. Are we going to include the ceremony?
We'll discuss that, but we will let the we'll put it on Patreon. You will see what our process was with the good doctor and find out more information.
Yeah, and I just want to encourage anyone who's maybe dealing with like a termination, a miscarriage, any of those things, a loss. There's always ways to to partner, collab with the spirit world and kind of assist you in those type of things. And I think too for the men who have been in this position supporting a woman who's actually going through the surgical procedure or whatever, like I'm gonna put some things for you too in that Patreon, because I just think that it's unfortunate, like the men are forgotten in this process. And a lot of times it's like, yeah, shut the fuck up. I did this and that. I got put to sleep. And that shit is no fun. That shit was no fun. And as a 30-something-year-old woman who's done it before, I literally this like I wouldn't wish that shit on anybody, and I'm not ever doing that again. Yeah, like I need to be better at my ovulation, but bitch might have 6 kids if I can't get it together. But like that, that shit is just, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's like this lady that put the anesthesia in, and she was so old. She kept shaking while trying to find the vein. And honestly, it's the second time I've been to that place, and that was also the same bitch I got last time. And I just remember her like shaking profusely, and I was like, "How is this? Why is this happening to me again?"
Mm. Stop. Stop.
Can you imagine someone trying to find your vein?
Stop shaking like that.
And I literally, I told her, I said, I think you need to put it in my hand. Last time it was too small. I think you need to try the hand. And she's like, she's a sweet fucking lady, the sweetest lady, I swear to God. But I'm really concerned about those shakes.
Yeah.
I mean, not so concerned that I left or requested somebody else, but
Yeah.
I was scared.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for not forgetting the men, even if you don't want to deal with their seasonal depressions. But yeah, it's important to realize that, when they actually, it's so easy and so like common to just be like, niggas don't care, or they not, they just want, their feelings on it are like different. But when you actually get somebody that cares and wants to be a dad and wants all these things, is actually kind of difficult, because the thought of what you going through and then saying like, well, I have feelings about this, is just so hard when you actually care as a man and actually care about the, not only care just about having a baby, but actually care about the person that's having the baby as well, or not having a baby. It's rough sometimes. So thank you for your consideration for the men.
Do you feel like when I said when I said I'm pregnant, did you feel a way that I was pretty I was pretty sure that it wasn't the time, or were you pretty as clear as
No,
me?
I was pretty
Because
as
I felt
clear as
like I
you.
was kind of a bitch then too, and I was like,
No,
"This is not a good time for this."
no, 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 no. I was pretty clear too, but
There's
just
still a
knowing,
level of like,
yeah,
damn, this is what we're supposed to do, and it's
fuck,
not happening.
like,
And honestly, now I'm gonna be real. I would be lying if I said, "Did we make the right decision?" I would be lying if I said I never once thought, "Could we have made it past
same,
that?" We could
same.
have. We would have been fine. Um, but in that moment, there's so much going on. And then also I don't want to think too deeply down that either, is because like I already experienced having a pregnancy in a place where I wasn't, where I was low dose unaware depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously
Yeah.
unaware, low dose, maybe high dose unaware depressed. Not high dose unaware depressed. High dose HDUD. HDUD. So if
H
you're
dot.
experiencing HDUD, call me. Um so and everyone's like, no pregnancy is going to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. You don't get to choose, and I don't think that anything's going to be perfect, but like those middle-aged white women, they be choosing.
Yeah, they do.
They be like, we're trying for a baby.
Yeah.
In our community, we like hardly hear that. I'm like, every time my friend's like, I'm pregnant, I'm like, what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Bitches be married. I'd be like, are you sure? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? It's just like not. It's we. I don't know. I don't feel like I've had the luxury of planning, and now I'm on the copper IUD because when I got that situation, I said, baby, when I'm asleep, put that shit in because
Mm-hmm.
this is not a position I want to be in. But I just think that yeah, I think I have had thoughts that maybe we could have managed. Especially when I saw that girl's baby,
Mm-hmm.
especially seeing that girl's baby now, and she's like, doing it. And I also think that sometimes being a mom already, there's so much so much. You know so much, and I think this was important for me to talk about publicly because I think not a lot of women have. First of all, for some reason, a lot of women won't be public about saying they've had terminations. There's a lot of shame around it. And like I'm in a loving relationship and I'm an adult. I'm very much an adult. And so there's a lot of shame around not choosing to move forward with a child. But I just know there's so much responsibility and so much that goes into it. And I really wanted to have a experience that was different than my last. And it is already so different. I'm fucking 10 years older. But it's just, yeah, I have to trust we have to trust our intuition and that that was not the right time. And just, you know, be at peace with that decision and letting, the universe know and let him know that there will be a time and it's just that wasn't it.
Yeah. And we'll be at peace with it, and there will be a time. And I love you.
I love you too.
Let's go get you fed. Mm, love like this, the before, during, and after of falling in love.
I'm really excited to have a baby with you
I'm excited to have a baby with you too, babe.
at whatever point is the right time.
Love you.
I love you too.
Love y'all.
See you next time.
Whew. Mhm.
I never knew there was a la like this.